Can you guys hear me? Ramesh?
Yes,
Pratima?
good evening. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let me just quickly recap that what we have done in our last session. So our last session is nothing but let me just go to desktop and my Playwright. Okay, last session is 4, right? So today's session is nothing but session 5. So as I said, you right, if I need to automate, okay, if I need to do automation testing, right? So first you need to understand what So it's like now we are actually getting into our actual context, right? See, now we are actually getting into our actual context, right? So it's like, see, normally, right, as a QA or as a tester, okay, as a QA or as a tester or what we call it as SDETs or PQAs, principal quality engineers, right? We are responsible for doing the software testing. Okay, and under the software testing, right? But we have mainly two buckets, right? One is functional and second one is nothing but a non-functional. One is functional and second one is non-functional. If I need to do this testing, right, this can be done in two ways. But one way is nothing but we can manually test it, or else the second way is you can automate it. But if I need to automate, right? If I need to implement automation testing, right? So we need one tool. So here, right, we are going to use this Playwright for our automation. And whenever I need to use the tool, right, I should also write my code logic using some language. But for that, right, so we are actually using a language which is nothing but JavaScript. Which is nothing but JavaScript. So, for example, if I had written a manual test case, for example, I need to open google.com site. And then I need to search for Playwright. Okay, and or else the first step here is I need to open first my browser, and then I need to type google.com site on my application. I need to search for Playwright, and I need to verify whether I need to verify or validate. Whether I got my results or not. If I need to verify or validate whether I got my results or not. So normally, right, if I need to do the same activity, right, so you will actually open your Chrome browser. Okay, you will actually open your Chrome browser. Now, once I open, right, I need to open google.com site. Now, once I open google.com site, right, I will search for Playwright. And press enter. So once I press enter, right, I need to verify whether I'm getting these results or not. So this is nothing but what we do manually. Means if I need to manually test Google search, right, this is how that I will do. But the same, if I need to, the same, right, whatever that I'm doing manually on my machine, if I'm writing some code to automate the same, right, that is nothing but what we actually call it as testing. It means if you are able to write some code, we actually call it as a script through which you are able to test your application. That is nothing but what we are actually calling it as an automation. That is nothing but what we are actually calling it as an automation. Okay. Anyway, we'll get into more details because there are few members who are completely new. So there, I'll little bit elaborate once we start writing examples. So in last session, right, we already started with the Playwright. And if I need to automate, right, as I said to you, right, if I need to automate using a Playwright, right, first thing is you need to understand how do you locate elements. Then you need to understand how do you perform action. And then you need to perform how do you validate. how do we validate? To say whether it got passed or failed, And the second one is, see, normally, right, whenever you see any application, application contains elements. It means, for example, let me just go and open Google Chrome. Now let us say I am opening a Parabank site. Okay, I am opening Parabank site. It is one of the test sites where you can practice your automation. Now let us say here, right, once I open this particular site, I want to enter some user ID and I have entered some password and I'm clicking on login. So what happens? It is showing that some error, means the username and password could not be verified. It means it is showing that your user ID and password is not working. Your user ID and password is not working. So whenever I'm trying to type some value, if I need to type this particular value, first I need to locate this particular element. Then only I need to type that particular value. And then I need to locate a password. Then I need to type some value. Then I need to locate this login. Then I need to click on that particular element. Then I need to locate this element. I need to verify whether I'm getting error message or not. So if you see here, right? First you need to locate. What you are going to locate? Elements, which are nothing but which are represented as objects on your application. Now, what are actions? Whatever that you are typing. For example, I'm trying to click on in some element, or I want to clear the text which I got typed. All these are nothing but actions. And once I perform actions, right, then I am verifying for some error message. And I'm verifying some error message on my application. This is nothing but what we are actually calling it as validation. This is nothing but what we are actually calling it as validation. Now, the first part you need to understand. So, if I need to write some automation script, first you need to understand how do we locate it, what type of actions that you are going to perform, and what you are going to validate it. So, you have different methods, because if I need to write this automation script, right, we are using Playwright. So in Playwright, right, we have been provided with some sort of functions and methods, which actually helps me to perform these three. So if I need to mention here, right, see, whenever I want to locate an element, in Playwright, right, I have a method called a locator. And here, right, I need to pass that locator value, that how I am going to locate that particular element. Okay, and then the actions. In Playwright, right, see, whenever I want to type, right, I have a method called fill. Whenever I want to clear the text, right, I have a method called clear. Whenever I want to click on any specific element, right, I have a method called click. And whenever I want to select a value from drop down, right, I have a method called select option. And whenever I want to do my validations, Playwright has inbuilt validation methods through which you can compare, through which you can validate it. Inbuilt validation methods through which you can mark it as pass or fail. See, normally these validations are also called as assertions. Under two assertions, right, again, we have different types of assertions. Like we have soft assertions and we have hard assertions. That anyway, we'll see in our upcoming class. As of now, right, if I say assertion means you are comparing your expected value with your actual value. Based on this, right, you are marking your test case as passed or failed. Now, the first step here is, now we will write one test using Playwright. As I said, right, if I need to write a test, we have multiple ways. You can write it, or else you can record it, or else you can use your Chrome extension and again you can record it. But now you can record it when you're recording it, right? Again, you have two. One is you can record it using CodeGen, or else you can record it using your Chrome extension. You can record it using Chrome extension. So if you see, right, now we will see all the three. First we will write it, and then we will also see that how you are able to record it using your Chrome extension. Chrome extension. Is this part clear? For that, right, what I am doing here is I am opening my VS Code. I am opening my VS Code. Now right click, close all. I closed all my whatever that I have written under to this particular project. Now what I am doing here is I am creating a folder, and that folder name is I am simply saying 9 p.m. I am simply creating a folder, and that particular folder name is 9 p.m. So what I want, this folder should be outside to this particular it should be under to your tests folder. So I need to drag and drop this 9 p.m. folder under to tests folder. Because as I said, you right, whenever you're going to write any test cases, we actually write those test cases under to your tests folder. Under to Playwright, right, you have a folder with name called tests. Under to that particular folder, right, I have created a folder with name called 9 p.m. Now under to this, right, I want to write a test. So I'm clicking on plus symbol, and I'm simply saying this is nothing but login dot spec.js. Means I have created a file with name called login.spec.js. As I said, you write any file that you create under to your tests. That file should have extension called spec.js. That file should have extension called spec.js. Now under to this, right, if I need to write some test, how do I write? I need to write a test to open and close break. This is your test case. Means whenever you are writing any test, right, if you have this test with open and close circle brace, this indicates you are creating a test. Now whenever you are going to use a test, first you need to import your test. First you need to import your test. So I am importing a test from Playwright/test module. Playwright/test module. Now I want to write login, right? So what I'm doing here is I am writing this is nothing but login test. And then right, I need to create an asynchronous. Second parameter is nothing but asynchronous anonymous function. So open and close brace. This is an anonymous function. If I want to make it async, then it is an asynchronous anonymous function. And then right, whenever you are going to create a Playwright test, I said you right, we can pass page fixture. We can pass page fixture. So if I don't want to write browser context and a page, right, then you can directly pass a page fixture. And here, right, this open and curly brace is very important. If you forgot to write that open and close curly brace, for example, if you write a page like this, it does not represent that you are using this page from Playwright. It represents that you are passing a parameter. That parameter is page, which is of some string type of data. So normally, right, you need to make sure that you are adding this open and close circle brace before and after to that particular page. This indicates that it is a page fixture which you are using it from Playwright, Now the first step, as I said, right, when I use this page, it will automatically launch browser, it will automatically create a context, and then it will automatically create a new tab. Now under to this particular new tab, right, now what I need to do, whenever I need to write any code, it should start with await. And I need to write page.goto. Now, if I want to open this Parabank site, I need to copy this URL and I need to give that particular URL in my VS Code. I need to give that particular URL here. So this is nothing but I want to open Parabank site. Now, after opening Parabank site, I want to check whether I am able to see. See, how do you say that I am into Parabank homepage? I want to check whether I have customer login is available or not. Now, what I can do here is, if I want to use this customer login, as I said you right in yesterday's session, you just go here and you try to launch Playwright. Now, if you inspect it, And if you are going to inspect this customer login, this is the locator. This is the locator. Copy this locator. Now go back to your script and simply write await page dot. And this is the element. And I am simply saying, this is visible. This is visible. And if it is visible, right, you will get true. So what I need to do, I need to write dot to be. Or else you can make it as, if I want to make this right, then I need to write expect. Then I need to write expect. Then I should also write here expect, because if I want to use expect, I need to write expect. And I'm simply saying that this is nothing but the element. And here, right, I need to say, here, right, I'm saying that this particular element should be, what I can simply say, to be visible. To be visible. So it means if that element is visible, right? If that element is visible, then it will pass that particular step. If it is not visible, then it is going to fail that particular step. Now if you see, right, see, this is a method from Playwright which helps us to open URL. If you see, right, this method helps us to locate that particular element. But if I want to do validation, whether it is visible on my application or not, I need to use expect. As I said you in our last session, right? When you go and if you type Playwright assertions, if you click on Playwright assertions, you will get assertions in Playwright. Now, if you go and if you see here, right, all these are like assertions. You can use any of these assertions based upon your requirement. The assertion means you are validating something on your application. You are comparing something on your application and you are marking it as pass or fail. And you are marking that as pass or fail. So now if you see here, right? We will see some examples and you will understand it. But as of now, right, just I want you to understand that how I am writing this particular code. So if you see, right, first I had opened that particular Parabank site, and then I am checking whether I have customer login is visible on my application or not. Now the next part here is, again, I need to write await page dot locator. And the locator, I need to write some locator. And on that locator, right, I need to fill, let us say I want to fill username as ABC. And whenever you are going to write any line of code, you need to make sure that is prefixed with await. And again, I am going to write the same line of code for the second time because this is for user ID and this is for password. So how do we get it? You need to go back. And you need to open this Parabank site. Now right click onto that particular element, right click onto that particular page and click on inspect. So you will get this developer tools. Now in this developer tools, right, yesterday we had already installed a selector sub. So if you click on selector sub, you are able to see this. Now let us say I want to locate username. If you click on it, right, this is nothing but relative CSS for that particular username. So copy this and then go back to your code and give that particular relative CSS. Now whenever you are going to use CSS, right, within right, you need to replace your single quotes with double quotes. Because I am using this locator with single quotes, then automatically I need to use anything which is quoted, right? I need to use that in double quotes. But now you need to remember this. Anyway, that right, we will see in detail. But first you need to understand the script. So here, right, page.locator will help me to locate this particular element. On that particular element, right, I want to type ABC using fill method. In the same way, again go back to that particular site. Now inspect password. Now this is nothing but the CSS value. Now again go back and copy that particular CSS value where you are going to type ABC. So whenever you see any single quotes in that single quotes, right, you need to replace that with double quotes. Now again, I need to write my third step. I need to write await page dot locator. And here, right, I need to write in single quotes and I need to write dot click. So save it. Now what I need to do here is, now I want to click on to this particular login button. Now again, I'm inspecting this login button. I got the CSS. I am going back to my code and I'm placing that CSS value here. Now, whenever you see that value, right, if it is single quoted, you need to make sure that it is reflecting with double quotes. Now I am clicking on that particular element. Now, once you click on that particular element by giving some invalid value, let us say I'm giving ABC and I'm typing ABC and click on login. So what happens? I will get this error message. I will get this error message. Now let me inspect this error. Okay, I am getting this error message, so I am copying the relative XPath. I'm copying the relative XPath. And again, go back to your code and I'm writing await. And I'm writing await. Okay, await. And I'm writing expect. And where I am going to expect page dot locator. And locator is nothing but I need to write my locator which I captured here as an XPath. And this locator, I need to write it in double quotes. As I said, you write means whenever you're going to write that, right, you need to write that in double quotes. You need to replace your single quotes with double quotes. And then I have a validation method called to be visible. It means it is visible on my application. If it is visible, it will pass. If it is not visible, it will fail. And another important thing here is, see, I should also write here as well, await. Because see, here, right, when you see, right, before to page dot get role, because I'm locating it. That also I need to write await. Then only it will wait for us. It will wait till that particular step got succeeded. In the same way, here also I need to write await and save it. And save it. Now, if you see, right, this is what the test that I have created. If you see, right, this is what the test that I have created. Now, if you see, right, now I am executing this particular test. How do we execute? I need to just run command called npx playwright test and I need to give -g because I want to use a test name. What is the test name? Login test. And then I want to run that in headed mode. So if you run it right, see what happens. It will open your Chromium browser. And then it is going to maximize it. And then it is going to open your Parabank site. And it got logged in. I think someone has created with ABC, so it got logged in. So if you see, right, in the report, right, you see navigation was done, ABC filling was done, and ABC password has been done. Clicked on login is also done. But when you are verifying that you need to get an error message, you are not able to see that error message. Because it is not visible, because it has logged in, right? See, if you see here, right, let me just rerun it. If you see here, right, after checking this, right, here I am writing some wait time. So I am simply saying await page dot wait for timeout, and I am giving here 5,000 milliseconds. It means 5 seconds. Now if you see, right, now again I am running the same script. What I need to do, you need to come out of this particular report. So press Control C, and then you need to run your last command. Then you run it. So what happens? It will again open your browser. And then it will maximize, it will actually open the Parabank site and type ABC and click on login. See, it got logged in, so you don't see error message. That is the reason it is failing. That is the reason it is failing. Now let us assume that in Parabank site, right? Now let us say, okay, now let us say if I logged out. Okay, now let us say I am giving ABC here. I am simply saying ABC and I am typing ABC and click on login. So it was logged into this particular screen. Now, if I want to pass this particular test case, I want to check whether I have account overview or not. So right click inspect. and then I am inspecting this particular account overview. Then I will get to that particular account overview relative XPath. Now again, I need to go back. Now I am verifying whether I have this particular element or not. If I have account overview, right, I'm passing that particular test. So again, if I'm running the same test by pressing Control C, if you see, right, now what happened, it is actually opening that particular application and opening Parabank site and typing ABC and logged in, and it is verifying for that account overview, and finally it will close your browser. So this time, right, it got passed. See, it got passed. And if you want to see the report, right, you need to run this particular command. So if you run this particular command, right, it will actually open the report on your browser. Now, if you see, right, I have executed login test. In that login test, right, these are all the steps that got executed. And if you see, right, before executing, right, it has created a browser, it has created a context, it has created a page, and then it has navigated to an URL, and then it is checking whether you are into that particular page or not, and then it is typing username, password, clicking on login button, verifying whether you are into this particular page, and finally it is showing wait for timeout. It is showing wait for timeout, and finally it is closing your browser as well. It is closing your browser as well. So you can see your detailed steps that how it is actually performed on your application. Yeah, tell me, Suma. Someone has raised a hand, right? You can ask me if you have any questions. If there is any question, right, you can type it, or else you can unmute and you can ask me.
Yeah, I have one doubt.
Yeah, please.
You have mentioned like a locator, right? From by inspecting the locators. But in real time, sometimes we need to write the XPath, right? So can you please?
Yeah, that
oh,
cover it. See, normally, right? See, this is like to start your practice. Okay. In real practice, right, we don't use these locators. As I said, you right, we are going to write customized XPath and customized CSS. Okay. But
yeah,
see, it means again here, right? As I said, you right, there are two ways here. As I said, you right, it means in our last session, if I need to locate an element, okay, if I need to locate an element, right? Normally, in other languages, for example, if you see Selenium, right, you can locate an element using ID value, you can locate an element using name value, you can locate an element using class name value, you can locate an element using XPath, you can locate an element using linked text, you can locate an element using a partial linked text, or else you can also locate an element using CSS. Okay, these are locators which are supported with other like for example, if you use Selenium. But if you are using Playwright, Playwright supports only CSS, XPath, and there are some inbuilt locators which are available in Playwright. So it means it supports only these three types of locators. If I want to see the inbuilt locators, right here, right, if you go and if you type Playwright and if you type locators, it will automatically give you Playwright locators. These are nothing but inbuilt locators. These are only with this, right, you are able to only locate element only in Playwright. So normally, right, these inbuilt locators, right, which are captured from your recorder or which are captured from inspector, right, they will be always accurate. So for example, in Selenium, right, when you're inspecting some element from your developer tool or when you're inspecting some element from your plugins like ProPath or Selector Sub, that element can be duplicate. Means it can locate multiple elements with the same locator value. But here, right, when you're using Playwright and you're using Playwright Inspector to inspect it, right, the Playwright Inspector writes such a way that the locator through which it is trying to locate, that if it is inbuilt, right, it will be always unique. It does not locate the locator, right, that with what we captured, right, it does not locate multiple elements. You can directly use that inbuilt locator to locate it. So as of now, we are dealing with only static elements. Means whatever that I have shown you in this example, right? Those are static. It means the data will never change. Whenever you are going to automate on those applications, right? These elements remain the same. So as you said, right, it means whenever you are going to use CSS or whenever you are going to use XPath, if you want to handle dynamic elements where your data keeps on changing, there as a user, right, we need to write locators. We need to write locators. Not enough, we need to write locators. So those locators are nothing but if I need to write locators for dynamic elements, right, that I will write it, right, that is called as a customized XPath or customized CSS. That we will see when we are dealing with dynamic elements. Whenever you are dealing with dynamic elements like grid, table, or some random data, right, there I will tell you that how you will also handle it using the dynamic elements. So the main target here is we are still at your fourth class, right? So first you need to understand locators, and then how you are going to perform actions, and then how you are going to perform validations. So once you get that idea, right, we'll get into more details. We'll get into in depth that how you are going to locate it using customized XPath, customized CSS. That about your dynamic elements. Dynamic elements. Now, yeah, please, Ramesh.
Yeah, Suman.
Hmm.
Actually, right now we are using Selenium with Java in BDD framework, our project.
Okay, Cucumber. Or
Yeah,
Cucumber or JBHealth.
Cucumber only.
Okay.
So why we are learning this playwriting? I mean, what is the different? Why we are using playwright tool?
See, I'll tell you. See,
Yeah.
for example, if you take Selenium, right? For example, I'll tell you. If I take Selenium, right? For example, if I'm planning to automate my application using Selenium, right? Again, under the Selenium, right? You can design your automation script using multiple frameworks. Okay, using multiple frameworks. If I say using multiple frameworks means it's like see. Normally, whenever I am going to write some automation script, right? First step here is I need to define a framework. I need to define a framework. So many people will confuse what is framework. Framework means a structure way of maintaining your code. Means whatever the code that you write under to your framework, right? That should be written by following some structure. So many people say, why we need to write it? Because whenever you're going to write some code, and if you want to increase reusability, and if you want to reduce maintenance, we need to write our code by following some structure so that you can reuse it. You can write code only once and you can reuse it. So if I need to design a framework, right, it again depends upon the team and the project where you are working on. The team and the project where you are working on. For example, few people will design a Selenium framework using JUnit framework. Few people will write Selenium test cases using TestNG framework. Okay, using TestNG framework. Few will write Selenium tests using Cucumber framework. Okay, using Cucumber framework. And if you write your tests using Selenium with JBehave, we also have a jar called JBehave, which also helps us to develop a BDD. So if you see, right, whenever you're going to create a framework, right, that framework can be categorized into two types, test-driven development, and I can also categorize it into acceptance-driven development or behavioral-driven development or feature-driven development. It depends on the team where you are working. For example, if you are working for a project, or if you are working on a product, or if you are working, see, normally, right, whenever you are going to work on any application, right, it can be a project or it can be a product. Even though it can be a project or product, right, it depends upon the client or the product team. It depends upon the client or product team. If your client is technically knowledgeable and he can understand a few concepts of coding, people follow TDD approach. If your client does not have any knowledge on the coding part and he want to understand that what was derived as part of your automation testing, then he will ask us to develop it using BDD or acceptance test driven or feature driven development. Now, you are already using Cucumber, okay, with Selenium. Then why we need to use Playwright? then why we need to use the Playwright? So it is very simple. I'll tell you why we need to use the Playwright. Because it is like, see, first criteria is in Playwright. See, for example, if I am using Selenium, right? We don't use only Selenium. We will use it with JUnit, or we will use it with TestNG, or we will use with Cucumber. Why we need to use with these three libraries? Because Selenium does not have features. Like, for example, if I want to run selective test case, you can't do that with Selenium. If you add JUnit, TestNG, or Cucumber, then only you will get this option. Or else, if I want to run my test cases in parallel, you don't have that option in Selenium library. You need to use JUnit, TestNG, or Cucumber to make it parallel. Or if I want to generate HTML reports, you don't have that feature in Selenium. You are using some third-party library, or else you can use the default reports that are generated in JUnit, TestNG, or Cucumber. Or else, if I want to execute those test cases on priority, so you don't have that feature in Selenium. You need to use these frameworks like JUnit, TestNG, or Cucumber, where I have that particular feature. If I want to re-execute only failed test cases, for example, you already have few cases, and if I want to rerun only failed cases, that feature is not available in your Selenium. You need to use that JUnit, TestNG, or Cucumber. But if you see in the perspective of Playwright, right, all these features are inbuiltly provided in your Playwright. It is not required. That in Playwright also you have some unit testing frameworks. Like you have a framework called Just. You have a framework called Mocha. But it is not required to use unit testing frameworks. Playwright has inbuiltly all these features. And if you compare Playwright features with other tools which are most popular, like Selenium or Cypress, right? The features of Playwright are very vast when you compare it with other tools. That is one. Second one here is, if I use Selenium, right? For example, if I run a Selenium test, let us say it is taking 10 minutes of time to complete a test. If I use Playwright, right? If I use Playwright, the same test can be run in 30 seconds. It minimizes your execution time when you compare it with other tools like Selenium and Cypress. Cypress also executes fast, but Cypress has some limitations like single origin policy, and it cannot handle multiple windows. But that can be also handled using Playwright. So if you see, right, Playwright has advantages which actually overcome, which is actually what I mean. The advantages that what we have seen in Playwright, right, which are very when you compare with other tools, right? Other tools has only minimum features when you compare with your Playwright. So if I want to achieve that end-to-end, right, we actually use Playwright. But still, you may get one doubt. If we use Playwright, right? But for example, as you said in the scenario, for example, if my product is not technically knowledgeable, and if they're asking me to increase the transparency between engineering and as well as the product, so that you should also use some BDD type of approach to write your code. Then in Playwright as well, you have Cucumber JS. You can use this to write your features in simple English, and you can trigger it, and you can trigger the backend step definition, which is written in JavaScript using Playwright. Is this part clear, Ramesh, or any other question?
Yeah, okay. But in the Selenium, we have some drawbacks also. It is the, for example, CAPTCHA and Windows does not support Selenium.
That again, right? See, people say, for example, I'll tell you an example. It's like, people say using Selenium, right? I can't automate CAPTCHA. But now, right, if you use this AI, right, like Open APIs, right, you can also automate CAPTCHA as well, even though if it is in Selenium. Okay, and at the same way, right? See, people use it to say, if I have any flux element or if I have an image, I can't capture that text from that particular image using Selenium. But if you're enabling AI, right, with Selenium, you can still capture data from that image or with that flex as well. But it is like, see, you can't achieve them using pure Selenium code. But in Playwright, right, see, Playwright also has similar features, but if you compare, right, with AI integration, right, AI integration is very, very good, and AI integration support is very well defined in Playwright when you compare with other tools. So that is the reason, right? See, normally, right, and again, that how you are using AI is again also important. See, if I ask you to use AI, right, it should be used to minimize your design time and speed up your execution. Again, if you are using this AI at the time of execution, right, it will again increase your cost of your project.
Okay.
So you are
Yeah,
getting
it
that.
just yeah.
Anyway, see, we'll see we'll see them with examples one by one. Then you'll understand. Then you'll get
Yeah,
the
yeah.
context. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Thank
here,
you.
right, the base concept is like first you need to understand how you are locating it, how you are performing action on it, and if I need to validate, if I need to do validations, right, how you are going to do with expect, and how you are going to use those validation methods. See, normally, if the same, right, same validations, if I want to do it with Cucumber or JUnit or TestNG, right, you may use the assert class methods, or else you may use if conditions, soft assertions, through which you are able to achieve assertions in your code. But here, right, in Playwright, right, we have been inbuiltly provided with some expect methods through which you can validate any type of, through which you can completely perform your validations without using any third party libraries, without using any third party libraries. Means whatever the features that are actually required to automate and perform action and validate, right? All those are inbuiltly provided in your Playwright library. All these are inbuiltly provided in your Playwright library. So if you see, right, this is like I had written some piece of code to make you to understand. But if you see, right, go to means it will open URL. If I am writing a get by role means I am trying to locate this particular element using this get by role inbuilt locator. And I am checking that is available, that is visible on my application. And if you see, right, page by locator means I'm locating this element and I'm typing. I'm locating this element and I'm typing password. And I'm locating this particular element and I'm clicking on that particular element. And I'm locating this particular element and I'm checking whether it is visible on my application. And finally, I had written some code to blindly wait for certain amount of time to make my script so that I can see whether what has happened once I clicked on this login. For that, right, I am just giving some blind wait. If you don't give this, right, it will automatically speedily run and it will close your browser. That is the reason I had given some blind wait and I'm asking my script to wait for 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Now, the same script, right, it is not required that you need to write it. But what you can do here is you can just open your Chrome browser. You can open your Parabank site. But what I need to do here is I'm clicking on logout. Now, what I need to do here is I need to go here and I'm clicking on Playwright Inspector. I got Playwright Inspector. Now, if you see right here, right, majorly you need to understand three things here. Majorly you need to understand a few icons here. So, for example, I want to open Parabank site. Now, what I need to do, I am pressing enter. I'm pressing enter. So, it has opened Parabank site now. If you see right, it has automatically recorded that it has opened Parabank site. Now, what I am doing here is I am clicking on user and then I am typing ABC. And I am clicking on password and then I am typing ABC. And then I am clicking on login and then it will log into that particular application. Now, if you see right here, you will have, if you mouse over it, right here, you will have that you need to check for visibility. Here it will show that you need to check for text. And here it will show you need to check for value. So let us say I want to check for visibility. Then click on that visibility icon and go and click on account overview. So it will automatically add a step here. So if you see right, it is saying that whether account overview is visible on your application. It means including your validation, everything got recorded in this particular script. So now you just copy this script and go back to your test. Now again, under to 9 p.m., right, I'm just clicking on plus symbol and I'm saying login recorder.spec.js. Now copy this script here. Okay, now this is the script, right? So just I'm adding one statement to make to wait so that you can see what is happening. So I'm just adding 5 seconds and I am saving it. Now I am giving this test name as a test login. Save it. Now if I want to run, right, first I need to press Ctrl C so it comes out of that particular loop. Now I need to run, instead of login test, right, I need to run test login. So what happens now? It is executing this particular test case. It will open browser and then it is opening Parabank site and then it is clicking on that particular user ID, password and clicked on login and it is waiting for 5 seconds here because I had given to wait for 5 seconds. Now finally it is closing your browser. Now if you see, right, I have executed one test, 1 out of 1 got passed. It means now the same script, right? See, previously what I have done, if you see, right, previously what I have done, I have recorded it. If you see, right, previously in login spec, right, I have written it. And here, right, if you see, right, I have recorded it. It means I am able to record it using my Chrome Playwright recorder. And I'm able to also add validations as well using that recorder. And I'm able to simply copy that script and I'm able to generate this particular script. Now you may get one doubt. If I record it, right, see, but normally we design framework so that we need to identify common methods and we can reuse it based upon my requirement. Means I will write code only once. Wherever it is required, right, I need to use the same and I need to reuse that code as part of my test design. Then if you record it, right, then how you will design it? For that, right, we will use one of our agent, or else we will use some AI model through which you can convert this particular code into reusable format in a structured way. That I will tell you. But first you need to understand this basics. Then I'll show you that how you can also rebuild this complete code in a structured way as a framework. That part, right, I'll tell you in our upcoming classes. So the first part here is you need to understand. So if I need to design a test case, first you need to identify how you are going to locate those elements. And then you are going to identify how you are going to perform action. And then you are going to identify how you are going to validate. So now if you see here, right, locating and performing actions and validating, right? If I need to do this, right, then I am going to use the functions or methods which are available in your Playwright. So if I want to locate an element, see, blind rule, you need to remember, if I need to locate an element, I have a method called locator. If I want to perform action, normally if I want to type, I have a method called fill. If I want to remove the typed value, I have a method called clear. If I want to perform action, then I have a method called click. And if I want to select a value from drop down or list box, then I have a method called select option. You need to blindly by heart these methods. And then right, if I want to do validations, we have an expect block or mod expect predefined, which is available in a Playwright, through which in this, right, we have methods. By using these methods, right, you are able to perform your validations. Now, a little bit of depth. So if I need to locate an element, if I want to locate an element, right, I need to capture locator values. If I want to capture locator values, right, you can use developer tools of your browser. You can use plugins. Like selector sub or ProPath to your Chrome browser. Or else you can use your Playwright recorder or inspector to capture inbuilt locator values through which you can locate that particular element. element. So now you need to explore more on these locators. And then we will write a couple of examples. Like we will write at least one example that how you are going to type, how you are going to select a radio button, a checkbox, how you are going to select a value from drop down, list box, image, logo. All these, right? We will write some examples. Then you will understand that. And then we will also use some validation methods which are provided under to Playwright, that how you are going to perform your validations. And then, right, once we have done with this, right, then we will actually get into JavaScript basics. Because now you need to write some logic. So then we will get into JavaScript basics. Or else, we will see all the features which can be used as part of your Playwright. There are features in Playwright, right? Like running selective test case, running group of test cases, running hooks, running failed test cases, setting a global timeout, setting a timeout for your validations, running them in parallel, generating reports like HTML reports, line reports, dot reports, running only failed cases. All these, right? How do you enable traces to see logs? How do you enable recording? How do you capture a screenshot? How do we scroll an element? How do you handle pop-up? How do you handle alert? How do we handle frames? All these, right, we will see, and then we will start with our JavaScript basics. Why we may need this JavaScript basics means I need to write some logic. For example, I need to build a data-driven test. I need to read data from Excel. If I need to read data from Excel, I need to use some Excel.js library, which is available in JavaScript. And then I need to write some logic. If I need to write some logic, right, then I need that language basics. So we will see that language basics. And then, right, we will also see majorly on arrays and strings. Because whenever you are going to capture data from application, if I need to capture data from application, you may get it as an array or you may get it as a string. So you need to extract and then you need to validate. You need to extract and then you need to validate. For that, right, we need to understand that how we are going to use these arrays, strings, errors in your JavaScript. And then, right, I need to write my code in reusable format. If I need to write my code in reusable format, then again, we need to write our code by following object-oriented programming. So here, right, we will see again what is the class, what is object, what is encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, inheritance. How do we create a method, call a method? How do we import one file into another file? All these we will see under to this particular encapsulation. So this is like base coding. Now, once you have done with this coding, then we will try to understand the framework structure, that how you are going to design a structure for your Playwright project to increase reusability and to reduce maintenance. It means that these are like the next 1 week concepts that what we are going to discuss in our next 1 week, right? So this is what the next 1 week concepts. So tomorrow, right, we will write some examples. We will do some examples on locators. And then we will also see how you are going to write a customized locator values if data is random. And then we will write some examples to understand that how you are going to automate by performing actions and by performing validations. So this part, right, we are going to see in our next class tomorrow. Next session tomorrow. Any questions on today's session? Any questions? If you have anything, right, you can ask me. See, we are slowly starting it anyway. If you are done with another 2 sessions, right, you will feel convenient. You will be confident enough, and you will feel convenient to write your code, and you will understand that why I am saying that we need to locate, we need to perform action, and then we need to validate it, Okay. Any questions, Pratima, Ramesh?
Suman. This Playwright we can develop in Eclipse ID.
Okay, Eclipse. See, normally, right? Yeah, you can see. It's very simple. You can use this Playwright in any IDs where you are able to write JavaScript code.
Okay.
See, JavaScript coding, right? Not Java, JavaScript code, right? You can do that in Eclipse. You can do that in IntelliJ. You can do that in your in any supportive JavaScript based editors. But normally, right? You see, in real practice, right? We majorly use this VS Code, or we have another editor called Cursor AI. So normally, right, we majorly use these two editors. One is VS Code, and second one is Cursor AI. Majorly, we will use these two editors. You may get one doubt, why not other editors? You can use it. But if you want to use any AI features, or if you want to use agents to speed up your test design, that cannot be achieved in other editors, because we don't have support in other editors. But if you want to use these, right, here, right, you have that AI and agent support, through which you can also speed up writing your code. Means it will actually help you to speed up your design. Execution, right, anyway, once you got code, right, you are going to re-execute the same code for multiple times as part of your regression. But to speed up your design, and if you want to migrate, for example, you already have a project in Selenium with Java, now you are planning to migrate it with your Playwright, then you need this AI or agents. Then only you can speedily migrate and generate those test cases into Playwright. So that is the reason, right, in real practice, right, you majorly see VS Code and Cursor editor. Cursor editor. Any other questions?
We can learn Java, entire JavaScript, like, or otherwise in Selenium with Java, we can learn only core Java topics only. Are there
Yeah,
in
the similar way,
Playwright?
right? See, how when you are doing your Selenium, right, with Java, you will learn core Java concepts.
Yeah,
And see,
yeah,
but you normally, we don't use major number of collections like list set and as well as map and its
yeah,
hierarchy, right? But
yeah.
it again depends. See, if you want to implement this as part of your project, you need to learn core JavaScript basics and object-oriented programming. Again, if you are planning to relocate, if you are planning to move to some other organization, or if you're trying to attend some interviews, right? Then again, there are few questions which they will ask you in JavaScript. So you need to learn them to clear that interview. We don't actually use as part of our automation. But when you're attending an interview, right, your interview will be taken by some JavaScript guy or some tester who is very good with the JavaScript. So he may ask you some questions. So you may need to also learn those JavaScript based questions if you are planning to clear any interviews. But if you want to practically implement it, right, it is not required.
Okay.
You guys are getting me right?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So if you are good, right, I think so we can wind up session for today, and tomorrow also same time at 9:30. Okay. So please make sure to be in by 9:40 at least. Okay. So we can we will be in line, because it is already late, right? For few people again, it will be late. So I'll make myself to be in by 9:30. We will wait for 5 minutes and then we'll start, and we'll try to close exactly by 10:35. So it will be not late for others as well. Okay. And the second, and any other questions? And the second thing, right? See, whatever that we do here, right? I will share you this content, and I'll also share you the notes, and I'll also give you some examples for practice. You can practice it, then you will get a little bit hands-on on it. And if you see any difficulty in writing that, right, you can ask me. I'll elaborate it and I'll help you that how you can speed up on it. Okay. But the main important thing that I want to tell you here is, you will not see that much complexity or the content that what you see with Java. But here, right, it is very easy. If you learn the features, right, you are able to automate your application end to end using Playwright. And if you are using AI features, right, then it will make very easy to speed up your code design. If you are using AI or agents or MCP servers, right, through which you are able to generate code, right, it will be very easy. Even though a layman who does not know coding, right, he can also still use Playwright to write his test scripts. But anyway, we'll get to that particular part in another 8 or 9 sessions. You'll get more idea on it. So if you're good, right, then we can wind up for today. Tomorrow also same time at 9:30. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Bye.